Hello, Simran Singh here with 1111. I am thrilled to bring to you Abdy Electriciteh. It is a pleasure of mine to introduce you to him. I got the chance to experience him as a being and one of his sessions, and now the opportunity to interview him today for you to bring you some new insight into different levels of reality, some thoughts on energy, some thoughts on who you are, and I think most of all what excites me is the expression that he is in the world, in really being in his truth. There was one thing he said last night that I have said so many times on the Rebel Road when I went on tour last year, and that was that I was doing that tour for me, that everything in the world that we do, we have to do for ourselves. And he stated that yesterday when someone wanted to thank him for the experience of the session. He said that he did it for himself. And so that I want to start right there. Welcome, Abdy.
Thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure to be with you last evening and today. And I'd love to start with that point right there, because I think a lot of people in the world have this belief that we are here to save the world, to fix the world, to change the world, to do something for everyone out there. Mm-hmm. And that is such a profound and in-depth statement to say that we really are here to do everything for ourselves.
That's right. Well, we are conditioned with our ego. And of course the ego likes to save, the ego likes to help. Through that we are in charge and we are greater and we are better. A mother is a mother because her nature is being a mother. It's not doing it for the kid. And that's how it is. It is not really nobody needs a return of a favor, because there's no favors.
You talked a lot about nature yesterday. You talked about a dog has its nature, a cat has its nature. We each have our own nature. Talk a little bit about that, because people do tend to get locked into such an identity or the perspectives of the world that they want to project onto other things that people should be different, or that life should be different. Talk a little bit about what that means to just be our nature.
Well, before I answer that, I would mention something else. Well, there is no free will, actually. Everything is set from the moment we are born. This interview was planned the moment I was born and you were born. And we couldn't have missed it. And you couldn't have missed it. Of course, it's very difficult with our condition to understand that. We always choose something. But we choose based on something external that we are not in charge. So something happened, we go through an emotion, we say, we're going to do that. We're going to sit and watch this now. And of course that external situation, environment, make us to do what we have to do. And that's how we don't have a free will. We don't have a choice. We are forced to choose what we need to choose. And the way we operate is through our nature. So the environment uses your nature to be exactly who you need to be. And everybody does the same thing. We are no different than everything else in the universe. A cat barks, well, it doesn't bark. a dog barks because of its nature. A cat does something else because of its nature. And a tree stands there because of its nature. And each human is individual. And our nature as a human is very similar in some aspect and different in others. Especially what it goes through our mind and our emotion is individual. And each person follow their path through the force of their nature. And nobody does anything wrong, and there is nothing normal, because each person nature is unique to that person. And when you understand that, then life becomes much easier. Then there is no judgment, there is no, you never think of, oh, I did something wrong, because your nature mandates to do that, and there is no guilt about it. And there was no free will on it either, because you had to do what you had to do. And if you do something great, you can't have such an ego that, look what I've done. And you sit back, you allow the nature support every individual's nature to be who they need to be without being interfering what it should be.
And in that way, it means you're not doing anything wrong, and neither am I.
And neither
No one is doing anything
exactly,
wrong.
Exactly.
So a lot of people might have a real issue with that whole free will conversation, because then it brings up the ego. It brings up, well, if there's no free will, that means I have no control. That means that this is all hopeless. This is all, what is this purpose of this place? Can you help some understanding, although we're not here to understand, that's part of the control too. Can you bring some light to that conversation?
Well, you see, again, our nature is also to have ego and control. It's part of our nature. There's nothing wrong with it. I'm just explaining what it is. I'm not making it wrong. And we need to have this ego, and we need to have the control. And through that, we need to reject the idea of free will. Because our ego doesn't like to be left out, so it rejects it, because all our life we've been conditioned a certain way, and suddenly someone says, well, this is wrong, so it's against our programming. Of course, in more Asian culture, it's already, in astrology, it's already accepted, so it works much easier for them, because within the culture, it's what meant to be.
Yes.
In Western culture, of course, it's different, because the system forces people to do certain way, and such a rapid growth in 100 years, so the will becomes so important. And now the whole system of materialism make people, the way we define success based on where you are in a society, and the society define you with your money and your power. So the will makes it happen, so you have to put your child to the university, do that to be successful. So of course all that doesn't fit in the bigger system. But if your nature is a part of being that successful, doing that for your child, that is what's going to happen. That is the part of not having free will, but being part of it. See, if you take a hammer and put a nail on the wall, well, the hammer put the nail in. But if you ask somebody who is putting the nail on the wall, is it you or the hammer? Of course, it's you. You're just using the hammer. But if hammer did have a brain and did have an ego, would say, it's me, I am doing it.
Because that's the nature of the hammer.
Exactly.
To hammer something.
Exactly.
Yes.
And we are just a vehicle to do everything, and everything is done through us, and by us thinking we don't have a free will, or we have a choice, which we do have a choice, but we are not in charge of it. That's the difference. And we choose. And that's simple. And it's not so complicated as we want to make it. But if we are making it complicated, it's fine too. That's the way it needs to be.
So if we allow that idea of free will to disappear, I think many people then look at their lives and they say, I'm in this pain, or I'm in this struggle, or I'm grieving a loss, or I don't know how to get out of this money situation. So we go into all of these emotions. Mm-hmm. And last night you said that if you're really present and in the moment, then there is no emotion. There is no feeling. So what do people do then with all of this feeling? How do they allow that to just be their nature, and yet combat all of these ideas of you create your reality, or law of attraction, or it's free will, or you're in the negative emotions, you need to be in the higher emotions? What does someone do with all of that if it's all nature anyway?
Well, first of all, most of negativity I don't believe in, because there's nothing negative. You see, either you have a chair or you don't have a chair. You can't have a negative chair. It's just negativity is a creation of our mind, and the ego has created it. And if you cannot have a negative chair, there's no negative energy. There's nothing in the universe negative. And there's, if you look in higher dimension, there is no polarity either. But that's, that goes 20 minutes of talk if I want to talk about dimensions. So, you see, first of all, when we want to deal with things, as you're asking, that means we want to take charge to fix things, or problems, mostly is. And that could be our nature too, but eventually, within lifetimes, and when we grow, gradually life is about being in a passenger seat, not on the driver's seat, and allow life happens. So we can change anything, whatever happened in our life. I mean, somebody dies, situation happens, we react to it. If we react from a position of control and being in charge and being the driver and try to fix it and make us better, make situation better, it's a very hard ride. If we react in a position of looking at everything as it needed to be and as it is and it's going to be what it needs to be, and withdraw ourselves from the situation, well, everything become easy. So a lot of people trying to change everything in life, like money or whatever you said, but everything in your life happens the way it needs to be. You can't change anything. All will be changed, not you can change. It's just your perception
The
of
perceptions.
everything.
And even that idea of I need to surrender, that's just another level of control.
That's right. Actually, I had a quote sent around 6 months ago. I sent everywhere. I said, allowing is the first step toward the journey of enlightening.
Yes.
But if you want to be enlightened, that means you're not allowing.
Yes. Yes. So when an individual comes to see Abdi, he's coming because it is in his nature. It was the right timing. It was destined. It was meant to be. It was already part of the plan.
Mm-hmm.
And what is being allowed in that moment is exactly what that individual needs. Yes?
That's correct. And it's all the time, and that moment too, yes.
All the time in that moment too. And would you call this, and I know we don't want to call anything or label anything, but if we had to use a word, would it be an initiation? Would it be an opening of a door? What is the person really there for?
Well, it's for many reasons, but to say it in words that is not justifying all of it. Some of them I know, a lot of them I don't. But to put it in words, people come because, there is a new time, new era now. The whole energy of the earth has changed since September 2013, and we are going through a new consciousness. And a lot of energy is poured through us, and from the crown chakra, go through us, go to the earth, and we're really acting like a fuse. And if we are connected to our nature and nature, we allow the energy flows. If we don't, we blow like a fuse, and we get on the emotional body, we get anxiety and depression, and physical body, we have cancer, and it's happening, just started. So when they come to session like mine or other situation that could be too, there will be a connection to your own soul, and through your soul you're connected to everything in the universe. And when that connection happens, it's like, a new reality is downloaded to you. It's a consciousness that you have it, but you're not relating to it.
Okay.
And also, energetically, for that to happen, is more of an energetic balancing, and also like a past life clearing, and a little bit of DNA activation, and all of that to happen for you to go to a different state of energy and connection. So when you get that, of course, it never goes away. Then life becomes different, and the way you deal with it, and the way you connect, and the way you perceive.
And again, once that experience happens, if we remain in the state of allowing, then our nature takes over. Our nature allows
But
us
there's
to
no
proceed.
if.
But if we try to control it, say I need to act this way or I need to be this way, that's how we somehow block it.
Well, you can't block it. There's no if,
Yes.
and you can't block it. I don't believe that you can block anything. You just follow what you need to follow. You see, again, block something, it comes from that negativity or thing. No, we are not in charge really. If we block something because we need to feel that we are blocking, and to go through the trauma.
Yes.
But there is no if. It's just takes its course. If through that course is that you become closed and not to allow as you feel, that's then that's how it is, and then they go through it, and then suddenly one day open like a bomb reaction, or for some other people just go gradually and let it happen. You see, sometimes for energetic shift to happen, it needs to go to the other direction, like elastic band. So if you pull an elastic band one direction, if you want it projected to the other side, you pull it this way and just jump the other way. And you're the same way.
Wonderful, wonderful. Now you're traveling around North America right now, and you travel around the world, and you have these sessions where individuals can come and experience themselves, basically as a conduit or facilitator in those sessions. People can go to abdi.info.
Yes.
To find out more about where you will be. You will be in the U.S. for how much longer?
Well, actually, I just moved to Canada 2 weeks ago.
Wonderful.
So the reason I did move, I lived in Canada for many years, but the reason I moved back was because I want to work in U.S. more often. I believe Hollywood has kind of did their job to bring the humanity where it is today. And a lot of the problem that we have is created by US, and US will be the area that will take us to the next level in fixing those problems. So I'm putting so much emphasis working in US. I go everywhere, but I just moved here to do a lot of work. Yes.
Beautiful. And is there anything else that you want to share with people right now about yourself, about your tour, about any of your work, just so that they have that insight? Otherwise, I will put the link to abdi.info in the box below.
Well, I'm not going to share anything about me, but I'm going to share anything about you. Well, who you are today is not who you are 2 years ago, who you were 2 years ago. And because everything has changed. You just don't know it because you're conditioned for 30, 40, 50 years to be the way you decided to be from the past experience that is changed. It's time to get to know you. That's it.
Thank you so much, Abdi, for
Pleasure.
being here.
Thank you.
And thank you. We are all experiencing itself. Everything in the world is happening to us and for us every single moment. And there is nothing but good. Allow your experiences, allow your feelings, allow anything that is right now. And that's how you get through each and every moment, because we are timeless, boundless creation, here to experience ourselves. Until next time, I'm Simran Singh. Be well. Thank you.
Thank you.